and welcome to today's episode of Vengeful Vegas, True Crime in Sin City. I'm Janice.
And I'm Bonnie.
And today's episode is going to be a bonus episode where we just give you a little bit of background about who we are and what made us want to do a true crime podcast centered around crime in Las Vegas. Well, Bonnie and I both moved to Vegas with our families when we were in the 7th grade, and that's when we met in middle school. And then we both went on to high school together and graduated in 2006. Please don't age us with that date. I don't know why I told anyone that, because they're going to age us.
Hey, with age comes wisdom. It's fine.
I agree. So after high school, I decided for some weird reason to move my desert growing up white booty to the middle of nowhere in Idaho, where I had quite the culture shock and found out that Walmarts actually close.
Yeah. I did the opposite. I stayed in Las Vegas and took a bunch of random college classes and never got a degree. I just wasted my time, basically. I briefly specialized in phlebotomy, which is drawing blood, sticking people with needles, taking their blood. By the time I got licensed for that, though, the job market was not hiring for phlebotomy, and it was incredibly frustrating. So that was another dead end. And so I just picked up random jobs, working retail and working for a law firm.
I forgot about that.
And during that time, I dated off and on what ended up being a total dead end. And then I rebounded, met my husband like 2 weeks later, and we got married.
I love how you call your husband a rebound.
He was. He was my rebound, and I was his rebound. He was dating someone for like 2 years, proposed to her. She said she had to think about it, so he was like, all right, well, I'm not going to stick around and wait for you to decide. So he found me a couple weeks later, and we started dating, and 5 months later, we were married. So, and it worked out. We've been married for 11 years now. We got married, immediately started having kids. Like a month after we got married, I was pregnant.
Yep. God has everything lined up for us before we even know it.
It honestly, whether you're religious or not, that's how I've seen my life. Ever since my husband and I got married, I've looked back at the events that have occurred in my life, and I swear everything has been like put in my path to lead me to this very happy life that I'm living. And they weren't choices I would have made for myself. They were choices that were kind of pushed in my direction. I begrudgingly went with those choices, and I could not have picked a better life for myself. I am so happy. I love my life. So now we live in the middle of nowhere, Utah, in Manti. And it's as opposite as you can get from Las Vegas. We live in the country. People have cows and pigs and goats. And like twice a year, they herd the sheep across the highway. And we only have like one Walmart within 30 minutes of us. And it's like the smallest Walmart you have in the United States. So my life is very, very different than what Janice has ended up being, but we've remained really close over the years despite that.
Yeah, so when I went away to college and Bonnie stayed, we still stayed in contact. We stayed really good friends, best friends for over 20 years now. It's really odd to think about. We've known each other that long.
Forever.
But so I went to college in Idaho, and I got myself a degree in interior architecture and design. And I bounced around in a few different cities after graduating. Houston, Texas, Vegas. I had an internship in Seattle at one point, and now I reside in Vancouver, Washington, just across the border from Portland, Oregon. It's literally just a suburb, but in a better state of Portland. And Yeah, I'm doing really well. I have a career where, so it's funny. I have a career doing drafting and permitting and designs and stuff for exterior living rooms, and my degree is in interiors.
Oh gosh, I don't think I realized that.
Yeah, I did.
Well, obviously.
But I like it. I really like the company I'm working for, and yeah, I like where I live. I have 2 fur babies named Arwen and Hermione, and Bonnie and I are both pretty big nerds around those movies.
Yep, love Harry Potter.
And we'll probably end up bringing up their names.
Yep.
We'll probably end up bringing up quotes or movie references or something at some point in time, or probably more than once, I'm pretty sure of it,
Yep.
that we will be talking about those movies.
Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, and Star Wars. Those are my 3 favorite fandoms.
Yeah, I'm going to leave Star Wars to you.
You do that.
But, yeah, Gryffindor's the best house.
No, it's not. Slytherin, all the way. That's who I am.
What? Yeah, you're a Slytherin. And what house is your husband in again?
Freaking Hufflepuff. How'd that work out? Jeez.
I always think that's so funny.
Yeah,
when
it's.
I remember that. You're married. Yeah.
It doesn't logically make sense.
But you have 6 kids, so somehow it makes sense.
Yeah, I guess. It obviously works.
So, what got us into doing this podcast? So, I only actually started really listening to true crime podcasts a year ago when I started listening to true crime all the time on Audible. And I had never really gotten into podcasts. I always thought that they were just about like people talking about themselves and like interviewing random people about
Like self-help stuff?
yeah, about like random crap that I have no interest in listening to, but because of my
Yeah,
Audible
yeah.
subscription, it like came up and it's like, hey, podcasts. And I've always been interested in true crime, like the stories and the movies and just all of it. And so when I listened to them, I like got sucked into the world of true crime even more, and now it's like almost all I listen to. And it's pretty funny because they know that I listen to that while I'm drawing my stuff on my computer at work. And they're like, how do you work like that? I'm like, yeah, I just do. But the funny part of it is I'm like, hey, just don't ever piss me off because I know how to get rid of a body.
Yeah, dude, for reals though. Like, it's disturbing how much I know when it comes to getting rid of a body.
Yeah. But it's pretty funny, yeah.
I don't know when I got into true crime. Yeah, it's been oh geez. So I started getting into listening to true crime podcasts when my sister told me about it. My older sister. She and I are really close, and she
Bonnie's one of 11.
yeah, one of 11. My sister that's just older than me in that line of 11, she had been listening to Crime Junkie on Spotify, and she mentioned it to me, and she's like, hey, I know you like listening to true crime, and I know you're into serial killers, and this is a really good podcast for that. So I looked it up right away and started listening to it, and I just plowed through the episodes like so fast. I absolutely love Crime Junkie. They have amazing content. I think they do an excellent job with their podcasts, and they're my absolute top favorite.
Yeah, I listen to them too, but I like true crime all the time more because I just really like their banter. And Bonnie and I are weird like them, so I feel like we're gonna, based on what we both like in our podcast listening, this podcast, Vengeful Vegas, is probably going to be a combination of the two.
Yeah. So, eventually we'll figure it out.
Yeah. So after a year of listening to them and listening to others, and I just randomly, I had been kind of thinking about it because Mike and Gibby of TCAT had mentioned several different podcasts that were based solely on the crimes of specific cities. And so I kind of was thinking about it and knew that Bonnie was into true crime. So I one day just called Bonnie up and was like, hey, You want to do a true crime podcast with me on the crimes in Vegas? And without any hesitation, Bonnie was in.
Yep, immediately. I can't think of something better to do with my free time that I don't really have than to look up true crime and talk about it, especially from my hometown.
Yeah, so that's what got us into it, or what, I don't know. Well, I don't know what really got us into it, but that's what led us to this. to this.
I went from baking as my hobby to true crime podcasting.
One of them has a little less calories.
A lot less.
So every week we're going to post a new episode on Saturdays. We wanted to do Saturdays because I personally don't know of any podcast that Saturday is their air date, and thought it would be good for listeners to have something to listen to over the weekend. I mean, a lot of people are relaxing and watching TV or doing whatever they're doing, but there's also a lot of people that are working or cleaning or whatever, and just to have that episode to listen to, I thought that that's what we should do. That, and when we decided to do the podcast, we set our eyes on January 1st, 2022 as our airing of our very first episode. So that happened to be a Saturday, and we kind of are just running with it. And then our last note would be that we do have a website, and we are on Instagram and Spotify, Facebook, and we'll have plugs about them later. We also have a PayPal that we can take donations to help us afford to be able to do this podcast, because software and websites and stuff cost money. And right now we're just doing it for fun. We have a Patreon, which is just another site you can listen to us on. And yeah, look us up on any type of social media that you have, or follow us on our podcast website or anywhere that you listen to your podcast. And we look forward to really getting into the true crime, and we really hope you guys enjoy the stories. It's going to be stories from all different genres of crime, all different times, mostly from the mob to modern day, and yeah, we're really looking forward to this adventure. It's really nice to have something that I can do with my best friend of 20 years that lives thousands of miles away from me in the middle of nowhere. It's been difficult getting that quality time with her since she moved there, because even though I haven't lived in Vegas for years, I was always coming home for the holidays, and I could still spend time with her. But now that's not an option.
Nope. Plus, I've got like massive phone call anxiety, and so most of the time, Janice will try to call me, and I either can't answer the call because I'm taking care of kids, or I can't answer the call because my house is so loud, or I choose not to answer the call because my phone call anxiety kicks in, and I'm so stressed about talking on the phone that I can't like emotionally answer the phone call. So this forces me to get outside of my phone call anxiety and chat with my friend for once. And I get to be in a nice quiet place when I do it. So it's fantastic.
Yeah, so now that you know a little bit about us, that is going to be it for this episode of Vengeful Vegas. I really hope you guys will stick with us and listen to our upcoming podcasts. And our first episode is airing January 1st, 2022. And remember, safety isn't expensive, it's priceless.